Joining me now to discuss the human impact behind the politics and beyond the politics is lifelong Chicago resident Andrea Cervantes. Andrea, thank you for being here today. We talk about these stories to politicians, to law enforcement officials, but I'm glad we have someone like you, a person living in Chicago, who can tell us what you've personally seen or experienced since these ICE raids began and the National Guard began deploying there.
Yeah, thank you for taking the opportunity to hear us out personally. It's a lot of fear and anxiety. It's very sad and hard to see hardworking people who contribute to the economy, who pay taxes, who are just family members being taken brutally off of the street without warrants. That's the main concern is there's no proper documentation being present during these confrontations and interactions. And it seems to me that a lot of the agents don't seem to be organized. They don't seem to be well trained because they're not able to handle the scale of, anger or frustration that they're receiving from the public.
Have you seen or been in areas where they've had scenes like we're looking at right now, where tear gas is being deployed and there are these big crowds in large clashes?
I personally haven't. I do know some friends and family members who have been in situations that have been escalated, unfortunately. So near Brighton Park and
Yeah.
Little Village.
I know you have, no, it's okay. I know you're a mother and you have a 7-year-old child. What's your level of concern, or do you have any concern about, walking down the street one day and something like this playing out? We were just showing the video happening yesterday in a seemingly upper-class neighborhood in Chicago, where suddenly ICE agents pulled up and were trying to talk with and arrest a landscaper, and the community came out, and then there was this clash and tear gas.
Yeah, it's very sad. As parents, you want to send your kids to school to get an education. It's unfortunate there was arrests as well for teenagers who were on their way to school in Benito Juarez, for example, and they're standing up for what they see is wrong. It doesn't take, it's not rocket science to see that what they're following, these procedures are not being followed. So they're being brave and they're taking accountability and using their right, their First Amendment right to free speech, to say something to them. But for parents, it's hard because they worry if they're even going to be able to pick their kids up from school, because ICE agents do patrol outside of schools and they use kids as, what's the word? They're using them as leverage to lure parents there. And that's not how it should be.
The flip side of this, and we actually spoke to a law enforcement official earlier in our show, is that law enforcement officials say they're just doing their job. They're doing what they're instructed to do here. And in some of these clashes, they're getting swarmed with crowds and their lives are on the line. I actually want to play you something from Sheriff Mark Lamb, who spoke with us earlier about that. Take a listen.
Take out the immigration piece of it. That's what people are getting emotional about. Regular police affecting their business would not be okay with this. And I think that gas is the most safe and dispersing an angry crowd, especially, like, I go back to the fact that we have had 1,000% increase, which is totally unacceptable, of violence against our agents. So I don't know what it is you want them to use. I think that they use the appropriate force, and they're not even using much force against these people that are right on them and actually touching them.
What's your reaction to the sheriff's reaction there to saying law enforcement, this is what they need to do and have to do, and they're well within their rights to do?
Well, I would say to follow due process. I think that this is a sign for them to listen to the public. Obviously, people are not happy about the way that they're going about things. And it's very clear with how much resistance they are facing. So perhaps they should take a look back into themselves and find proper channels to go through with the things that they're doing. And clearly, it's patrolling highly Hispanic neighborhoods instead of having a warrant for someone specific. If that was true, I would understand that because you're following the law. This just creates more chaos in the neighborhoods, and a lot of basically it's kind of ironic because it's creating the chaos and the violence that they're trying so hard to fix.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.